Yo, what's good everyone? Welcome back to Gossip Reload, your go-to spot for the juiciest stories in the culture. You're vibing with me, you know I'm vibing with you. Today, we're diving into a heartbreaking and devastating incident out of Utah, marking one of the deadliest shootings the city's seen in years. The tragic event claimed the life of conservative figure Charlie Kirk. Let's break down the defendant's bail status and the key allegations surrounding this case. Tyler James Robinson, the defendant in this case, will continue to be held without bail at the Utah County Jail. What follows is a summary of the 10-page information containing the formal allegations made against him. On September 10, 2025, at approximately 12:23 p.m., a tragic event unfolded on the campus of Utah Valley University, UVU, in Orem, Utah. Charlie Kirk, a well-known conservative activist and founder of the non-profit organization Turning Point USA, was shot and killed while addressing a large crowd. The shooting occurred during a public event organized by Turning Point USA, which was held outdoors on the UVU campus at noon. Kirk, who had gained notoriety for his political activism and speeches on college campuses, was interacting with attendees when he was struck by a single bullet that hit him in the neck. According to witnesses, the bullet's trajectory passed dangerously close to several individuals in the crowd, including the questioner standing directly in front of him. Additionally, children were reportedly visible near Kirk when the shooting occurred. After the shot was fired, Kirk collapsed almost immediately. He was rushed to a nearby hospital, where he was later declared deceased. The suspected murder weapon, a bolt-action .30-06 rifle, was discovered in a nearby area. The weapon, which had been discarded by the shooter, was found with DNA evidence matching that of Robinson. Following the shooting, law enforcement quickly launched a full-scale manhunt to apprehend the shooter. The hunt lasted for approximately 33 hours, extending through the night and into the following day. It wasn't until the evening of September 11, 2025, that Tyler James Robinson voluntarily surrendered to authorities at the Washington County Sheriff's Office. Robinson's surrender marked the conclusion of a tense search for the individual responsible for the senseless act of violence. Upon his surrender, DNA evidence was recovered from the rifle that was consistent with Robinson's genetic profile. In addition to the DNA evidence on the trigger of the rifle, investigators discovered that Robinson had taken steps to hide his involvement in the crime. He allegedly discarded the clothing he wore during the shooting and instructed his roommate to delete incriminating text messages while advising him not to speak to law enforcement. The event where Kirk was tragically killed had been widely publicized, as it was part of a series of similar events scheduled across college campuses nationwide. These events, organized by Turning Point USA, were designed to provide a platform for Kirk to discuss various political issues, challenge opposing viewpoints, and engage in public debates with audience members. His events had garnered a considerable following, but they also attracted significant opposition from those who disagreed with his conservative views. The UVU event was highly anticipated, with hundreds of individuals attending. The crowd was large, and the atmosphere was energetic as Kirk began his speech. Approximately 15 minutes into his address, which involved answering a question about mass shootings by transgender individuals, a gunshot rang out. The bullet struck Kirk in the neck, causing him to fall to the ground almost immediately. At the time of the shooting, Kirk was seated behind a table and microphone, addressing the crowd from under a portable canopy. His team members were standing near him, and there was a temporary metal fence separating him from the audience. The crowd was positioned closely around Kirk, and several individuals were in the vicinity of the shooting. A UVU police officer, who was stationed in an elevated position and monitoring the crowd, reacted quickly upon hearing the shot. The officer, suspecting the use of a rifle due to the distinct sound of the gunfire, began scanning the area for potential sniper positions. He identified a roof approximately 160 yards away from Kirk's location as a likely location from which the shot may have originated. The officer proceeded to climb over a railing and access the roof, where he confirmed that there was a clear line of sight between the suspected shooting position and the spot where Kirk had been seated. While on the roof, the officer observed physical evidence that suggested a prone shooting position, including impressions in the gravel that were consistent with the placement of a person's elbows, knees, and feet during a shooting. This discovery provided further corroboration of the belief that the shot had been fired from that location. The search for the shooter intensified after the officer's discovery. Authorities reviewed surveillance footage from various cameras on the UVU campus. The footage revealed a person dressed in dark clothing entering the campus around 11:51 a.m., approximately 30 minutes before the shooting occurred. The individual was wearing a black shirt with an American flag design, a dark baseball cap, and large sunglasses, and was seen walking with an unusual gait that suggested a rifle may have been concealed in the individual's pants. This unusual walking pattern continued as the suspect approached the rooftop, where they climbed over the railing and disappeared from view. The surveillance video later captured the individual, identified as Robinson, running across the roof and then assuming a prone shooting position. After the shot was fired, the camera recorded the same person carrying an item consistent with the shape of a rifle. Robinson was then seen climbing down from the roof and running toward the northeast side of the campus. Law enforcement continued to follow the suspect's path after the shooting, tracing it to a wooded area near the northeastern edge of the campus. There, investigators discovered the bolt-action .30-006 rifle wrapped in a towel. The rifle contained 1 spent round and 3 live rounds, confirming that a single shot had been fired during the shooting incident. The presence of a single round and no shell casings on the roof suggested that the rifle was bolt-action rather than semi-automatic or automatic. Further examination of the ammunition found in the rifle revealed that the spent round, along with 2 of the live rounds, had been etched with strange inscriptions. These inscriptions appeared to be messages, some of which contained odd and disturbing phrases, likely intended as taunts or memes. One of the inscriptions on the spent cartridge read, "Notice bulge," and another said, "If you read this, you are gay," while the live rounds were marked with the phrases, "Ciao Bella" and "Fascist catch." These markings, though seemingly inconsequential, provided additional insight into Robinson's state of mind at the time of the shooting. Following the release of the surveillance footage, Robinson's mother recognized her son in the images and became concerned. She contacted him, and after speaking with her husband, they both came to suspect that Robinson may have been involved in the shooting. Despite Robinson initially denying any involvement, his parents continued to press him, leading to a conversation in which Robinson admitted that he was, in fact, the shooter. Robinson confessed to his parents that he had been motivated by a deep-seated hatred of Charlie Kirk and his political views, particularly his outspoken conservatism. He referred to Kirk as a person who spreads too much hate, and stated that he had been planning the shooting for over a week. Robinson's parents, alarmed by his confession, eventually convinced him to turn himself in to the authorities. Robinson, with the support of a family friend who was a retired deputy sheriff, agreed to surrender to the police on the evening of September 11, 2025. Before his surrender, Robinson was advised by his parents and family friend to bring all evidence with him to the sheriff's office to avoid a search of their home. Robinson reportedly disposed of the clothes he wore during the shooting, and his family later disclosed that he had sent text messages to his roommate revealing his involvement in the crime. Robinson's roommate, a biological male with whom he was romantically involved, provided a critical piece of evidence. The roommate testified that he had received a series of text messages from Robinson, including one that stated, "I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it." When asked to elaborate, Robinson's messages revealed a disturbing level of premeditation and justification for his actions, including claims that he felt there was too much evil in the world and that some hate can't be negotiated out. Law enforcement executed a search warrant at Robinson's residence, where they discovered several pieces of incriminating evidence. Among the items recovered were additional shell casings with markings similar to those found at the scene of the shooting. They also found target boards with bullet holes, further suggesting that Robinson had engaged in target practice with the rifle in question. As stated at the beginning, the allegations against Tyler James Robinson are serious and will be thoroughly examined in the course of the legal process. It is important to note that these remain allegations, and the evidence will be presented in court for proper review and adjudication. Drop your thoughts below. Do you think this is pointless violence, or is it part of a bigger, ongoing battle? Hit that like, subscribe, and leave your comments. Stay safe out there, and we'll catch you for part 2 next. This is Gossip Reload, signing out.